This question is to Carlo. Politicians make many promises. We all know that from the prior election. You just stood up here about an hour and a half ago, and you promised the people that are here that you would get federal funding to help out. How does a councilman get federal funding? As far as I know, that's really difficult to do. How do you do that?
I'm not recalling what part of that the questions it was, but one of the city does get federal funding. What we do need to do is make sure that it's allocated to our constituencies and our communities, as opposed to we need someone who's going to fight for our neighborhoods and bring the federal funding to our communities. We also need to be working with our federal partners to make sure that they know the importance of our communities and what services our communities need. Homelessness is a perfect example. Homelessness isn't a Los Angeles City problem. Homelessness is not a Los Angeles County problem. Homelessness isn't a Sylmar problem. Homelessness is a federal problem that the city of LA is burdened with, and we need to be able to let the federal government know that. 30% of the homeless individuals aren't Angelinos. They're individuals that end up coming to our communities, and what we need to do is go out to the federal government and require that they help us in this process with the funding sources.
So on the federal funding, yes, we have to work with our federal representatives in this area to making sure that they can identify the resources and bring it to our community. You know, for far too long, we've had so many individuals that have missed the opportunities to collaborate, to identify the resources at the federal level, but even at the state level, to making sure that we can bring back the services that we need in this area. That is absolutely important, and I will collaborate with our federal representatives both throughout the entire 7th District to making sure that we can get the money that we need in this area.
Yes, I have a two-part question. Every year, the city of LA pays millions of dollars to people who are the victims of police shootings. Do you support an independent civilian police review board to stop the killings? Because every night you watch the news, a lethal force is used on a person rather than beanbags or other attempts to subdue them. It's costing the city a lot of money because police are so eager to shoot rather than use other nonviolent means. And I think part of the problem is that they have been trained by the Israeli police how to handle Palestinians, so they use the same tactics here. My second question is, just because a few characters have acted out at city council meetings during the public comments, the city council has reduced the speaking time from 3 minutes to 1 minute. As you can see from here, from your podiums, you cannot make an articulate statement in 1 minute. Do you support increasing the speaker time? As it is, if you see the news and you see the time when public comments is conducted, the city council is not paying attention, they're going to the bathroom, etc. Because why should the city council give unlimited access to lobbyists when public citizens who take the effort to go to the city council meetings are reduced to 1 minute? Thank you very much.
So Eugene, I want to say, and I want to thank you for that question, because as someone who served in a public role on the Board of Public Works, many of the same individuals that you're talking about would come both to our Public Works meeting as well as go to the City Council. And I was someone who, when they raised the issues that they were raising, I would oftentimes walk to the side to have more meaningful conversations with them. In fact, oftentimes they would talk about issues that were just being neglected by the neighboring council member. And so I was absolutely accessible and responsive to making sure that their issues were addressed. Just like when you called me with that one issue that you were having here in your neighborhood, and I called you within, 24 hours to making sure that your issue got resolved. Having leadership that is accessible, that is responsive, and is respectful of the public's input is leadership that I bring, and I will commit to bringing that to our district because that's what we deserve.
And Monica, on the question of the use of lethal force by LAPD?
So yes, on the issue of use of force, I know and, right now we have Measure C, and looking at the review panel, absolutely support Measure C.
So Measure C is actually, there are organizations that are now not supporting Measure C because a civilian on a review panel has historically been more lenient on the cops during the process, and there's proof of that. The studies show that civilians on a review panel have been less lenient on the police officers than have the brass that are in the process. So that is a major concern. I do want transparency, but I haven't looked into Measure C fully yet, but I believe that Measure C also says that the officer gets to pick if he wants a full officer panel or a officer and civilian panel. So that raises some questions and doubts in my mind that I need to do more research on, and unfortunately, I haven't had the full time to do so. And then the second aspect of it, I'm not giving out my cell phone number just for the campaign process. I'm giving out my cell phone number to my constituents. It's going to be on my website so that I can be an accessible council member. So when we're voting on issues, I want to be able to hear from you. There might be some that we're not going to be, yes, I do want to, I gave it to you. I told you I want to hear it from you. There are going to be times we don't agree because the community itself doesn't agree on a lot of different issues. But having the ability to hear people out, be able to have a process where we're representative of the constituents and addressing concerns that constituents raise through the process is what we need to do. And the public comment is an important aspect of that, and civic engagement is.
Let's move on to that.
The homeless situation here in the Armory, there's a lot of folks who are very upset about both of your support for the Armory. I know it's not done yet. We don't have enough information. Citizens are concerned about property values, about what's going on. There's two different publics. I've been to the Armory. I thought it was run very well. But there's two different publics we're dealing with. One are the people that will go to get services, and there's the ones that people see. There's two different publics. So I want to know if you guys will put on a forum to really bring this to everybody's attention so we can everybody has a voice in the matter. Thank you.
Not only will the forum occur when I start office and have the ability to organize one on behalf of the city, a forum will be occurring quarterly so that we can take input because sometimes there are things that can't be mitigated initially because we didn't know we're going to be a problem or we're going to be an issue. So a forum will be held quarterly to address the concerns of the constituents and the residents in Sylmar, so that we can address it, we can modify the operations, and these things have the ability to also house certain individuals, and once people are housed, there might be a new individual that creates a different issue in the community, and we need to be able to regularly have the dialogue and the community forums to address them.
My bigger concern with this whole process is that it's been initiated without representation at the local city council level to ensure that we are taking all the right precautions to protect our community. And that is already the biggest part of the challenge with this issue. So absolutely making sure that there is a public forum so that we can take all of the concerns into play. But again, there has not even been a fully vetted plan on how we move forward on that, and that's already a big problem with this area. So absolutely, I will hold a community forum on it.
My question is, I know both of you have both talked about bringing industrial and bringing certain businesses here, but there's not really a lot to do in District 7. So I know there's an equestrian community and there's also like hiking and Veterans Park, but what will each of you do to bring some kind of nightlife to our city? And, well, I speak for Sylmar, but there's nothing to do here. There's no theater, there's no mall, there's nothing. What can you say that you will bring to CD7 that'll benefit my generation?
So we can talk to places like Casa Torres, a small local business, to making sure that they have those dance nights on Friday night. No, there is, in fact, in Mission Hills, we lost the Mission Hills Bowl, which was it was a wonderful place where, growing up, I used to be in a bowling league there, and it used to be a place where we would all convene with families, and we've lost a lot of those amenities in this district, and so absolutely championing some of the nightlife that we want to have here, but more importantly, I think making sure that our local small businesses in this area are successful, that they can actually extend their hours. I know Mikey's Cafe is another perfect example. He's open for only through lunch. and they're not extending their hours, because we have to make sure that we spend our dollars local so that we can help generate the benefit for our local business owners and elicit the kind of enthusiasm for them to extend those hours because there's a demand for it. And so absolutely, I want to make sure that we create those evening recreational opportunities for our community. And but I know we have a number of small business owners right now that would be of really great benefit to extending their hours, and we need to support them in doing that.
Right now, it takes about a year to go through the permitting process for a new restaurant, especially if they're going to have a liquor license or any dancing or any entertainment like that. It takes a year to get to a hearing date. That is too long for someone to be waiting for a location. When they can go to other cities and open it up in a much faster timeline. We do need to have a public input process with certain types of businesses just to make sure that they're not impacting the residents in that area, but we don't need a year to get to a hearing. We need to create a system where we force ourselves to get to hearings faster within a 75-day window or a 60-day window to be able to give a response to these individuals, whether they can continue their plans to open up a business in this facility or not. No property owner wants to sign a lease with a contingent of a year waiting for a conditional use permit for alcohol or entertainment. We need to speed up that process so that we can attract the businesses into our neighborhoods. And yeah, we don't have a movie theater, we need one.
I just have a couple of questions. I never heard talk you about the education of the elder people or about the education of the Mexican and Central American about the English as a second language. We attend, my wife and me, a school English is a second language there in Pacoima, because around here there is not a school for us. It's a shame for us that we don't have a school around here in Sylmar or San Fernando. And the school that we attend is not a public school. It's a men's school with the teachers is a volunteers. Also, I want to hear from you that you just talk around the question that if you support sanctuary cities or not. Neither of you says, I support it. I want to hear that.
That I support senior programs? Absolutely, I support senior programs.
You never said before.
I said it to you now, sir. I will absolutely commit to it because, in fact, what I would like to see happening, there are a number of intergenerational seniors with youth and programming that we can do, and I think there's a lot of really wonderful opportunities, not just to help co-locate a lot of those facilities, but I want to make sure that we have the kind of programming and activities for our senior citizens, because I know that...
Not activities, education.
Education, we have, yes, and we have a number of those facilities. I will make sure that we continue to grow that opportunity here in this district.
So on that front, absolutely, I also love our seniors. But what just opened up in Sunland Tahunga is a perfect example. Mission College just opened up a satellite campus in Sunland Tahunga. They took a small area which is basically one classroom and made it a satellite campus to offer ESL classes, to offer computer classes, and at a very reduced rate, and it also does scholarship programs. So absolutely, it is one that is it's a perfect example of what we need to expand into other communities so that we can bring the educational opportunities to the people. Yes.
Hello, candidates and stakeholders. Good evening. My name is Ricardo Benitez. And I really want to talk about two issues, which one, the one he already talked about. Long time ago, there was money put on the side for those satellite class, what Mission College was going to deliver for those ESL people, but never was accomplished. But some of the stakeholders from the community came to the Assemblymember Patty Lopez in 2016, and she started digging for the money, and she found the money, and already those classes are flying for the community. So Assemblymember Patty Lopez was a good representative in this community. So the other is, in 2008, I was on the Sylmar Neighborhood Council for 2 terms, and there was on the side put $1,100,000 to start building the fire station over here in Sylmar. My question is, are you willing to start digging for the money and start building the fire station in Sylmar?
Absolutely. We will look for every resource we can to make sure and ensure that a fire station is added to the network in the Sylmar community so that we can protect the foothill communities from fires like what was occurring today.
Monica, I think you caught the gist
Yes.
of the question at the end
Yes,
there.
and to repeat my answer, yes, absolutely, we'll fight for it, and I want to first and foremost make sure that we restore the services that we've already lost at our 2 existing stations that are serving, helping to serve this community as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you, someone who has lived in this district her entire life. Unlike my opponent, I didn't just move in here in order to run for this seat. And it begs the question that had Mr. Fuentes not abandoned this seat, if this individual would actually have the commitment to serve this community in all the ways that he claimed that he does. Because at the end of the day, I have been someone for the last 22 years that has been of service to this community, both as a public servant, as a volunteer, and I am someone who will continue to be the champion for this district. It's why I ran for this seat in 2007 and why I continue to fight to bring the services that we need in our community, and I did so on the Board of Public Works most recently. This is a community that has gone for many, many years without the kind of representation that it deserves, someone that is willing to roll up their sleeves and fight for this area, to be a warrior for our community, and I am someone that has dedicated my life to public service because of the example that was gifted to me by my father, who was a 33-year veteran of the LA City Fire Department, as example by my sister, who is a local school teacher. We are someone who believes in service, and we are a family that believes in the values of growing your roots in your community. That is what we are doing. That's what we have developed a commitment to service, and I would be so honored and grateful to have the privilege of representing us on the Los Angeles City Council as someone who understands our issues, but more importantly, knows how to solve them. Thank you.
I am proud to have lived in the East Valley all of my life. I've lived within 8 miles of this location all of my life, except for a small 6-month window when I went to Washington, D.C. to intern for Ted Kennedy. And then I realized Washington gets cold, and I came right back to the San Fernando Valley. I am proud to have served our communities as a neighborhood council member. I have volunteered to our communities in the East San Fernando Valley. I am proudly raising my 2 kids in this community, and I will continue to be an activist in our communities. I am the champion for our communities. I do know that this election is going to be close. There is going to be a lot of special interest money spent in this race, and what we need to do is we can defeat the special interests if we all organize, talk to our neighbors, get them out to vote, and let them know why this race is important. So please make sure to go out there, make sure to vote, and make sure to talk to your neighbors, drag them out there, put them in your car, take them with you to the polls. We need to make sure that we send a signal that our communities vote and our communities matter.
Well, we've reached the end of our program tonight. First of all, thank the candidates. You have a tough choice ahead of you coming up. So I want to thank the candidates first and foremost. I want to thank Mission College. I want to thank, obviously, all the organizers here from the Neighborhood Council. And lastly, thank all of you. You definitely give this political scientist some hope that there will be some rejuvenation of our civic politics here in Los Angeles. So thanks for coming tonight.